The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters radio show was originally broadcast on May 25th, 2021.
Aloha and welcome to the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters radio show, sponsored by Mokulele Airlines and Sherry Reeve Gallery and Gifts. I'm your host, Pamela Tumpop, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, and today we're going to talk about solar projects and how they're going to help Maui County achieve its energy goals, different encounters families faced during COVID, and Maui Economic Opportunity's role in assisting these families, and hear from a local small business based out of Kula, Maui, doing fun and amazing things. So first, I'd like to welcome Teena Rasmussen, a longtime friend of mine and co-founder of Skog Rasmussen LLC. Prior to co-founding Skog Rasmussen LLC in 2019, Teena served as the director of the Office of Economic Development for the County of Maui for 8 years, overseeing an $80 million portfolio of economic development grants, accomplished projects in energy, film, agriculture, tourism, workforce development, and business development. She also operated with her husband for 35 years, Paradise Flower Farms, and generously gives her time to nonprofits and education-based institutions, as well as dedicating a great deal of her expertise to business and industry advocacy. Teena, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Pam. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
You're
great to talk to you this morning.
So good to talk to you. And, you have done a wealth of things. And now, for several years, you've been on a new journey. Why don't you give us a little bit of an overview about Skog Rasmussen LLC and how you got it started?
Well, thank you so much. While I was working with the County of Maui, Jeannie Skog and I, who worked at, she was the CEO and president of Maui Economic Development Board, and worked there for over 30 years. She and I worked on many projects together, including starting the Maui Energy Conference, which has now morphed into the Hawaii Energy Conference. And so we worked very well together, and she had left MEDB and stepped down and wanted to pursue some new things about a year before I was finished with the County of Maui. And she asked me to join her little consulting firm. We changed the name, and we changed it to Skog Rasmussen LLC, and it was, and that's how it came about, right? About 2.5 years ago already. So our firm focuses on, we are a woman-owned business. We have 3 partners, Melissa Hamp, Jeannie Skog, and myself. And we focus in various areas, but the main tracks we do is our partner, Melissa Hamp, works on grants and foundational funding for nonprofits, for businesses, for agencies. And she is a federal registered lobbyist. She can assist in Washington, D.C. She worked on the Hill for over 15 years, assist with working on finding funding, federal funding. And then Gina and I focus on community outreach for projects. When they come to, of course, Maui, you know that you have to dive in and you have to do your work in the community.
Absolutely.
And that's, we focus on that. We do strategic planning with these companies on their communications, make sure that their communications are sensitive to all of the facets of our community. We also, we do analysis for projects and so forth, like SWOT analysis, and we do deep dives into the community and find out what they're thinking and report back to these projects. So that's kind of, we do a lot of other things, but that's just the gist of it.
Well, both of you are excellent at this kind of work, and you've had, as we shared briefly, we could have gone on with the bio, but you've had many, many years of experience in this. And I know one of the key areas of your focus right now is on solar projects. So tell us a little bit about how these projects came about.
So I'm sure people are seeing lots of information coming out across the communities about various solar projects. I think there's a lot of confusion about it. But about 3 years ago, Hawaiian Electric put out a request for proposals. They put it out across the country, asking for, actually the globe, asking for proposals for renewable energy projects for Maui and, of course, the state of Hawaii. Out of these requests for proposals, these right now 5 utility-scale solar projects have come about, and they are all moving in various timetables of getting their permits and their, all of the approvals that they need to have in place, including Public Utility Commission approval, Planning Commission approval, and so forth.
Wow. So tell us, let's go down the list, because we've got 5 of them. So talk to us about, let's start with the first one, and where is that?
So the 5 that are moving on Maui right now are Paiahu Solar, which is on Ulapalakua Ranch land in South Kihei.
Okay. There
is Kamaole Solar, which is on Haleakala Ranch land in South Kihei. Palehu Solar, which is in Lower Kula on Haleakala Ranch land. Kahana Solar, which is on Maui land and Pine land in Kahana above the Kapalua Airport. And there's Kuhielani, which is in central Maui on Mahipono land.
Okay.
And so those are the 5 that are moving now. Now, people might say, why are we doing all these? What is HECO's interest in having all of these projects converge, at the same time on our island? But what's driving this is the needed closure of the Kahului power plant.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize this, but the Kahului power plant was actually shut down back in, I believe, 2014. And then what happened was HCNS went out of business, and they were producing about 12% of our island's power through the burning of the sugar gas.
Yeah.
And when they went out, all of a sudden we were short on power on our island, and so they had to restart the Kahului power plant. The plant is extremely old, like 75 years old. It's very polluting. They've had EPA violations for years. They need to shut this down, and this is why HECO is moving toward this the procurement of new renewable projects.
Well, and I think it's very exciting to hear about all these projects. I have to say, I haven't quite kept up as much as I needed to, because I was very well aware of several of them, and to hear that we've got now 5 in very diverse areas across the island, and I'm glad that you mentioned, again, this isn't competition with HECO. This is to help HECO solve a much-needed challenge. But also talk to us a little bit about, again, Hawaii and Maui County's energy goals, and how these solar installations are truly not only going to help with our power, but help us meet those goals.
Well, thanks for mentioning that, because many know, or many may not know, that we have a state-mandated renewable energy goal, that we are 100% renewable by the year of 2045. So 2045 is only about 23 or 4 years, from now, and you know how it kind of goes by in a flash when you're talking about these major infrastructure projects, right? And so people realize you can't wait until 2040 and then figure out how you're going to be 100% renewable. So that is a state mandate. So, of course, the utility companies have to move toward that. The Public Utilities Commission has to move toward that,
right?
And everyone in the energy world of Hawaii has got to move toward that. And so that is the impetus for this. That is why we are working so hard to make it happen. These 5 projects alone on Maui will replace 6,340,000 barrels of fuel oil that we will not have to import into Maui, and that's just Maui alone. over the next 25 years.
Okay, let's say that again. Did you say 6,340,000 barrels of
fuel
oil?
oil that we will not have to import over the life of these solar projects?
Wow, that's huge. That is really huge.
You know, Pam, one of the things that people ask all the time is, is this power going to be affordable for us? Is it going to help lower my electricity bill? And we believe the answer is absolutely yes, because, and this is a really big key thing, and especially as we're seeing inflation kick up in our economy right now. When these requests for proposals were accepted, the companies had to basically make their proposal based on a fixed price for 25 years. There are no escalators in these contracts.
Wow, that's
They
fantastic.
cannot raise the price, at 5-year marks or 10-year marks or 15-year marks. They are fixed for 25 years. Now, what in our economy do you know is fixed for 25 years for their pricing?
Yeah, that would be, I can't, not a single thing comes to mind, Teena. Not a single thing.
And so here we are. We're seeing some of the lowest prices that have ever been, proposed for solar energy. These projects are running 8 cents to 12 cents a kilowatt. And, I mean, it's unprecedented. And those prices are below the current price of buying fuel oil. So we're already below the price of fuel oil. And so you can imagine going forward, how beneficial that will be.
Absolutely. Now, tell me, I was recently talking to some of our bandwidth providers, and one of the things they were sharing with me the other day is the tremendous amount of time it takes to get projects through these processes, through the PUC and the planning processes. How long is it taking for some of these processes to go through?
So we have, starting out, we have a couple of advantages. First of all, solar is allowed on agriculture land in Hawaii. It's by state statute. They have allowed it. It is not allowed on Class A soil land. So that's not allowed on really prime ag land. But the rest of the soil types, it is. So that does eliminate the rezoning aspect of it. I mean, you could never, ever get these projects built if you had to rezone.
Yeah, that is a very long process, yeah.
So the approvals they need they have to get their power purchase agreements approved by the Public Utilities Commission. And that's just the Public Utilities Commission saying, here's the power purchase, this is the price. Is it an advantage for the consumers of Hawaii? Is it going to be beneficial to the electric utility? And that's the decision made there. From that, they come to the Planning Commission, not the council, but the Planning Commission, for their special use permit. The reason we have to have a special use permit in Maui is that it is over 15 acres. These projects are over 15 acres. And anything that's over 15 acres on agriculture land in Maui does need this special use permit, even though it is allowed by state statute. So that is the second thing they have to get. And then subsequently, they will get their construction permits and all of those normal things, the grading and grubbing and, all the permits they have to get for construction. So, but a lot goes into it, Pam, and if there's opposition, these projects get delayed, and Hawaii is the loser for that. I mean, our county is the loser for that because the Kahului power plant is supposed to be shut down in 2024. And these projects are all supposed to be operational by the end of 2023.
Wow, that is a very rushed time frame. And, I'm glad that you mentioned the date because, as you were saying, first of all, it was shut down. The Kahului power plant was shut down. Then it reopened, and now we've got a very short timeline. it seems like, you and I've talked many times. I mean, it just seems like we're always running faster and faster. And yet we've got these very long processes that we have to, address and go through. And it takes a lot of money even to go through the process, all of the planning and effort just to gear a project up for those processes is tremendous.
Yes, and there's technical studies that go into this. I mean, they study everything about that property, the flora and the fauna. They study the archaeological, any cultural assets that are on the property. They do the drainage studies. They do visual simulation studies. They do all sorts of technical and engineering studies. I mean, it is extraordinarily expensive for these projects. But I will tell you, we are so lucky with the companies that were chosen to come in and, they were selected to do these projects. Jeannie and I work for 4 of them, and someone asked, well, are they in competition with each other? Isn't that weird that you work for 4 of them? No, they're not in competition with each other. They've all been selected already. They are all in various stages. So it's actually been very helpful that we are working on 4 of these projects, because we've been able to help the public understand the difference between them, because there's been a lot of confusion, as you know, about what project is which and what project is where, and, a lot of confusion. So we've been able to really help the projects in that manner.
And speaking of the public, and I'm so glad, and I know you and Jeannie are excellent at this, reaching out to the public, helping people understand it, doing the education piece, not only for the public, but also for the industries that you're serving. But how can the public help in this process? What is it that they can do, and how can they learn more so that they can be advocates for these installations?
Yes, well, it is such an important aspect of this community outreach piece. And, when these companies hire us, they're not hiring us to sugarcoat, what the public is thinking. Our job is to dive in and do a deep dive into the communities and particularly the neighborhoods that are closest to these projects, and do one-on-one interviews, listen to them, listen to what their concerns are, what their questions are, help answer those questions and get back to them if more information is needed. And then report back honest feedback, to the companies. Our job is to give them the real lay of the land. This is what people are thinking. These are the concerns. And from that, the companies are reacting to it. They are changing their projects. We know of at least 3 or 4 of the projects that have actually physically moved their boundaries back away from neighborhoods further. They've changed the configuration of the panels based on feedback. They are extremely, willing to work with the public in that manner. They are very responsible corporations. They're global. We have 2 of them are from Canada. One is based in Boston. Another one is the other are based in the U.S. But it's really great to see the corporate responsibility that is shining through with these projects.
I'm really so glad to hear it. I mean, it makes us proud to know that we've got partners that are working with us, and that they've hired your firm, a local firm, to advise them and understand how important that is in the community, and then to take in all of that community input and look at how they can make changes to come back with more winning solutions, come back with things that the community feels, are great improvements, and help them feel better about these projects and understand them more.
Yeah, and they are listening. The companies are listening, and they've been, again, tremendous at responding to the community. One of the things the community has told us over and over is we want this to benefit our local people. We want local people to be hired on these jobs. We want people, local people to build them. I'm really happy to say that yesterday Interjex Renewables has announced. Actually, it's been a couple weeks, but that their Paiahu solar project, which is in South Kihei, has hired H-New Energy.
Oh, great.
Which is a Maui-grown company.
Yes.
To be their construction management company, and they will be overseeing it, and Goodfellow Brothers will be doing the site work. And then, of course, they've hired many, many local consultants and engineering firms and so forth. They have really walked the walk. This company has Energex Renewables, and they have given as much as they possibly can, to the Maui community in the way of hiring our people. And I was just thrilled when I heard that.
That is awesome. Well, Teena, I could go on forever with you because there are so many projects, and I know we could dive deep, and I'm so sorry that's all the time we have. But thank you so much for being our guest today and sharing all about these 5 solar projects and their progress. We look forward to learning more, and we'll bring you back on again soon.
Thank you so much, Pam, and thanks so much for all the Maui Chamber has done over this past year for our business community. I'm a longtime member and huge supporter of the Maui Chamber.
Thank you. You always have been. Thank you so much, Teena. We appreciate you.
Okay.
Have a great Maui day.
Aloha.
Aloha. Our show is sponsored by Mokulele Airlines. Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal. Aloha, we are back, and we are going to be joined by Debbie Cabebe. She is the Chief Executive Officer of Maui Economic Opportunity, Inc. Debbie joined MEO in 2000 as the organization's Chief Human Resources Officer. In 2011, she was promoted to the Chief Operating Officer and was then promoted to the Chief Executive Officer in 2017. She is the past president of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association and a current member at large. She is involved and volunteers her time for numerous organizations. She is also nationally certified as a senior professional in human resources, which is a SPHR designation, and a certified results-oriented management and accountability, known as ROMA, trainer. Debbie was recognized by Pacific Business News as a 2019 Woman Who Means Business. She was one of the honorees and the Maui Nonprofit Executive Director of the Year. Good morning and aloha, Debbie. Welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning, Pam. How are you?
I am great. How are you this morning?
I am doing well. It looks like it's going to be a kind of sunny day. It's kind of hard to tell right now.
I was just saying I'm in studio, but I can kind of look out, and I'm like, it seems sunnier when I was driving down from Pukalani. But you're right, it's a little iffy over here. But
fully clouds outside, but it looks like they may break up. So
yeah, that's awesome. What part of the island are you at right now?
I'm in my office in Wailuku, behind the Cameron Center.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah. So we're not far apart at the moment. That's fantastic. Well, Debbie, you have been at MEO for many years, serving so many people in our community through the great breadth of programs that you have. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that MEO does and how you helped using all your programs and your team to help people solve challenges that residents experience through COVID?
Yeah, so, just a little overview. MEO has been around since 1965. We were created under the Economic Opportunity Act of 1964, and we're one of more than 1,000 community action agencies nationwide, and we are the designated anti-poverty community action agency for Maui County. So we serve, of course, Maui, Molokai, and Lanai. There are 4 community action agencies in Hawaii, one on Oahu, one on the Big Island, one on Kauai, and then Maui County. And we all look a little bit different because they always say in community action, if you've seen one community action agency, you've seen one community action agency. And what that means is our services are supposed to be relevant to the community in which we serve.
Right.
And we do an extensive community needs assessment every 3 years, looking at, what are the needs in the community, where are the gaps, and then what can we do to fill the gaps. And then we're challenged to find local resources to support those needs. So we're heavily county funded, and we administer numerous programs to support kupuna, youth, keiki, people coming out of prison, immigrants. Enlace Hispano serves the Hispanic population. So a wide variety of things. We operate under 5 departments. We have our MEO Business Development Center, where we help people with business training classes. We help them write a business plan and oftentimes give them microloans to start their business. This year, we also ran an ag grant, a micro ag grant for the County of Maui, helping our local farmers. And then in our community services program, we have a bunch of programs that we administer. So we have employment and training programs for immigrants, seniors, and low-income individuals. We have programs to support people who are exiting prison and reentering into the community. We have weatherization programs. We have energy assistance programs. We have rental assistance programs, senior programs. We have a program working with the disabled community called Maui Independent Living Center and helping them become independent and learn how to navigate the process on their own. And we also have a National Farm Workers Jobs Program, which is a Department of Labor Employment and Training grant to help folks who are running farms that need to have their workers upgraded their skills so that they can be more productive on the farm, or for people that maybe want to get out of farming and go into other employment. And then we have our youth services program, where we run prevention programs in the local schools, in middle and high schools, and then we do out-of-school activities that reinforce that prevention of underage drinking, suicide, bullying, tobacco-free, drug-free, all of those things. And then in our Head Start, our early childhood services, we run a Head Start preschool program for children 3 to 5. And we have an infant toddler center working with children from 1 to 3. So, we say we serve people from cradle to grave, and the whole purpose of our programs is to stabilize low-income families so that they have economic opportunity and strengthen the community, and give people with low-income people a voice in making change in the community.
Which, really, your organization absolutely does that. You folks really are a champion for not only all that you serve through these programs, and that was an excellent overview. Thank you so much for sharing that, because, just the breadth of what your organization does. But beyond that, in every organization, we've known each other for many years, and I'm so glad to know you and have you as a friend. In everything that you're doing, you folks are advocating and being a voice in the public arena, trying to help people better understand issues and be in your programs and beyond. And I love that what you're doing, and your mission is to help and stabilize these low-income families, give them a voice, and help them have those opportunities. And you're doing a tremendous job. And with COVID, it was a time of great devastation. None of us really expected it. We weren't prepared on a national, state, or global level. In fact, so in that, we often see when there's times of crisis, the people hit hardest are those low-income families who, are working and trying to move up and have many other challenges they're dealing with, and you've got great programs to help. But I know that you jumped in right away in partnership with the county to get them additional assistance. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so we were approached by the mayor and his administration to administer the Hawaii Emergency Laulima Partnership Program. And this program actually was first introduced to the community after 9/11, and then Mayor Kimo Opana approached my boss at the time, Gladys Baisa, and asked if MEO could help get emergency assistance out to folks that were affected. And so they came up with a program, and we rolled it out. So we took that program from 9/11 and we modified it a little bit. And of course, it was really different because during 9/11, everything could be done in person, and it made it much easier. This was much more difficult because everything had to be done online or with touchless contact. People had to come up, and we had to take documents and wipe them down and copy them and give them back. And so it was quite cumbersome. But we ended up helping. Well, we had over 14,000 applications, and we ended up helping over 13,500 households with emergency assistance ranging from rent to food to utility bills to paying for medicine to paying for water, paying somebody needed tires because they were getting called back to work and their tires were bald. I mean, so it was really kind of a broad range. And then because of that, we also had some private organizations reach out to us. The Montage Bay at Kapalua asked us to administer a similar program that was to benefit just their team members, and they funded it and we administered it. Hawaii Ma'olu did some rent assistance for their low-income families living in the low-income housing areas, and then also the Grand Wailea implemented a program similar for their team members, and it was funded by a gentleman who had been visiting the property for many years and wanted to do something for all the team members at that property. So we helped a bunch of people. We worked a long hours. Work weeks.
I know you did. I know that you guys were running fast and hard and putting in many hours, and your team was also serving in other capacities. I know David helped us on our micro business loan program. David, in your business development center program, he was also helping us do the micro business loan reviews as well, on top of all you were doing. And and what I think many don't realize is so many different agencies and organizations kicked in high gear because the crisis was so urgent. We needed to deploy the money as quickly as we could.
Yeah, and we were doing all of that and still trying to run our regular programs to make sure that we had, the prevention programs for the kids. So everything had to shift. It was all, remote and virtual, but we wanted to make sure we were doing things. Head Start did a lot of mailing packets home to the families so that the children had learning packets. And then they went to online classes, but they didn't have tablets. So we had to get tablets for them and hotspots for them to connect to the internet. And we had drive-through food distribution, and we helped people get to vaccination sites. We actually helped some of the kupuna hook up with the vaccination centers. So it was just a lot.
Yeah. Well, you have that was we sort of grappled with that a little bit too, because we were trying to expand and do more, but you also have your core services. So you're doing everything that you did before, and then everything that you did before is more difficult, and then you're adding on a whole other layer of work to kind of make it happen. So how's the team doing? Because I know things are hopefully slowing down a little bit, but with all those extra hours and all of that urgency and work, how's everybody doing? And did you have to lay anybody off? It seems like your team was able to stay intact during this time. And how are the needs now?
Well, very fortunate. We didn't have to lay anybody off. I mean, the people did their program and helped with the health program, so we were fortunate that they were able to do both. And our staff is amazing. Like I've said this several times, and each time I say it, I get chicken skin. I just was so impressed with how they stepped up and the level of commitment to make sure that they were going to help whoever they were taking care of at the time, and not wanting to go home because they got to finish this, they have to finish this one more thing to make sure that check will go out the next day. And I'm just truly grateful. I mean, the people that work here, they really believe in the mission, and they really take a sense of pride of, the work that they do. And so I'm very, very, very grateful for that.
You really do have a tremendous staff, and they do care about the mission. And the same thing is true for us. We just said whoever needs help. Our mantra just became anytime there was a request. It's just like what you folks do. How can we serve? It was just simply, there was no, I don't know if we can do it or not. It was, how can we serve? We'll figure it out. And I know that's exactly what you guys were doing as well, on such a grand scale, in so many areas, especially given the breadth of your current projects. So how are people doing today? Tell us about the needs and the things that you're hearing currently. I'm a little bit worried about when the unemployment ends and the plus-up ends, where we're going to be.
Well, I think that, there's still so many people behind or in the rears with the rental and the mortgage. That's not going to go away. And even with the utility bills. So I know, Hawaiian Electric has been so gracious, and they've reached out to people saying, hey, let's do a payment plan. Let's work on this so that, they don't want to cut people off. Most definitely. And luckily there has been a lot of money that's come out to support some of the rentals and the mortgage programs. The problem with that, though, is that a lot of it's geared to a particular income level. And, what we saw in COVID, and we're still seeing, is the people that were impacted, of course, were all of those low income, but also this other whole group of people, just like 9/11, people that have never had help before, never needed it. But they did live paycheck to paycheck. Right. Yeah. And now they're behind. And so trying to figure out, okay, now I'm back to work. I can cover what I've got, but how do I take care of all this debt that I incurred because I had to live off of credit cards, or just not pay my rent and have it keep building up? I mean, so I think those issues are going to continue to be a problem. And we have to sit down and figure out, as a community, how can we help those people that don't fit in that checkbox, Right.
Yeah, and it's not unique to us. Of course, we're hearing these things across the nation. It's affecting families. It's affecting businesses. It's affecting our world, and it is going to be a long-term challenge to move us out of that. And the amounts are significant, because you're right. Many, we coach people in business to try and have reserves, but savings has been something that's long forgotten. And we find so many are living paycheck to paycheck in their households, and it's going to be a long haul. But I know that you're in it, and we're happy to be in it and help with you. And we're looking forward to hopefully some additional relief coming out of, this additional federal funding that's coming down. I know we're all kind of still waiting to see, but, really hoping that we can help address some of these issues, because, that really, in terms of continuing to push those bills off, is ending very soon. And so now it's going to be more eminent problem that we have to solve.
Well, with businesses opening up, I mean, there are a lot of employment opportunities, and I know a lot of people have, sat back and decided that they were going to maybe make a career change and do something different. So now's the time, because the jobs are plentiful.
Yes, that's very true. I appreciate you mentioning that. And also, you've got programs to help retrain workers, Department of Labor. There's the Remote Ready Hawaii. If you're looking to make a shift, reach out to MEO, reach out to the State Department of Labor. Look into programs that can benefit you if you're wanting to make a career change. And as you said, Debbie, many businesses are looking to rehire right now. And as we've been reopening, they are in desperate need. A lot of the businesses we talk to simply say they don't have enough workers right now. And so it's a challenge as we continue to reopen. Debbie, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I appreciate the update. We'd love to have you on again soon in the near future and continue the dialogue.
Yeah, well, thank you, Pam. It's always a pleasure. Appreciate you and everything that the Maui Chamber of Commerce does for the community.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a beautiful Maui day.
You too. Aloha.
Aloha. This show is sponsored by Sherry Reeve Gallery and Gifts. Sherry is a renowned watercolorist who offers an array of bright and beautiful art and gifts for every occasion. If you haven't seen her gallery in Makawao, it's something not to miss. Please visit Sherry Reeve Gallery and Gifts. That was Debbie Cabebe of Maui Economic Opportunity. If you were just tuning in, she has been a tremendous community partner, as has MEO and their entire team, always, round the clock, 24/7 in our community, but definitely ramped up in huge ways during COVID-19 to serve our community and the families most in need. So we deeply appreciate the work she does. And also this morning, I get to welcome from Kula, the owner of Opihi Maui LLC, Kiani Yasak. Good morning and aloha, Kiani. Welcome to the show. And I understand it's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Mahalo nui, aloha kakahiaka. How are you folks?
We are good. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being up early and joining us on the radio.
Yes. So excited.
So we love your business. Tell us about your company story and how you were inspired to start this business.
So Opihi Maui, we're a small local business up in upcountry Kula Maui. We aspire to perpetuate our Hawaiian culture, values, and language. And we got started just because we wanted to share what we know, our ike of our kupuna, and welcome people to Hawaii with a little special gift as simple as a sign, a wooden sign or a magnet that spreads that type of aloha, that good vibe, local living lifestyle that we live here in Hawaii.
Your signs are so adorable. They're fun. They're painted in bright colors. They teach people Hawaiian words and messages and phrases. So how did this idea initially come up?
I've always been into art. I've always been very crafty. I like to, take strolls down the beach, gather shells. I always really liked home decor, and I ended up purchasing a few local signs here in Maui, and I wanted to give them out for Christmas gifts, and so I attached and glued some sand and sea glass and shells and gifted them to my friends, and they started asking me, hey, are you making these? And I said, I can. I didn't totally make the whole thing, but I can. And my dad, he paints houses here on Maui. He's a painting contractor, local painting contractor. And I kind of brought one of them to him and said, hey, Dad, do you think you have like some scrapped wood around the house that we can just cut up some wood and paint some fun colors, and I can just design some Olelo Hawaii sayings on here and, maybe, give them out next Christmas or, graduation time to friends and family. And he's like, oh, I can make something better than that. And so we started to really, gather up wood around the house. We recycle a lot of our wood from, construction sites here on Maui. A lot of the sites that my dad works at repurpose the wood so that it doesn't go into our landfill and just, add to our waste here on Maui. So it just kind of started simple as that, and we grew over the years. It's been about 10 years now, close to 10 years since we started our business.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that because you've mentioned that to us before. I love that you are repurposing wood from the construction sites, keeping it from the landfill. I love that your dad as a painting contractor has all this extra paint, which is also not going in the landfill, right? So much of that at times gets dumped as well. And you've got great paint, because it's great paint that's used in housing. So it's paint that lasts and works great on the signs. And every time I see you're a prolific artist in your work. You're very prolific. You always have changing and cute signs, new ideas. Every year that we get to participate with you through the Made in Maui County Festival, we find so many fun things, and you're one of those booths that people just flock to, because it's adorable, and you can find something for every occasion.
Yes, we really do appreciate the Made in Maui County Festival. We didn't participate the very first year. We almost did, and after that very first year, we said we have to get into this festival. And ever since, we've been doing great. We do a lot of custom signs, so people can place orders with us. We do graduations, weddings, businesses. We do logo items. Of course, your everyday household office display decor. We love doing little magnets. We do signs between 3 by 10, 5 by 8 size, inch size signs. Our most common, biggest sign would be a 7-inch by 13-inch wood sign, but we do bigger signs as well. We started adding a few new products to our line. We started doing the keiki measuring boards.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, they're a lot longer. They're harder to ship if you're thinking about trying to purchase something outside of Hawaii, from Maui, outside of Hawaii. They're about 5 feet, 5 inches long. And they measure up to just over 6 feet. You raise them up on the wall above a foot, and you mark along the board as the keiki grows. So we paint on there the ruler, the measuring stick on there, and you mark the growth of your children over the years, grandchildren, if you want to gift this to a grandparent. And what's great about it is that it's portable. So when the baby's real young, you can lay the board on the ground next to the child and mark the length of the baby. And then as they grow, you place it up on the wall and mark them as they grow. And if you ever move houses or want to paint the wall or change the room around, you can always move that as well because it's portable.
That is awesome. I love that idea. And I love that you've already thought through, right, the life things that happen, right? We move from house to house, or we switch rooms, or, the child moves into a different room. Yeah, I love that you've really put that much thought into all of your products. And I just want to say, for businesses who, as we're coming back, as we're sharing our aloha spirit, if you need some custom signs, you need to call Opihi Maui, because they are adorable. If you haven't seen them, they're just so bright and fun and lifts your mood right away when you see them. They're just super cute. You have to see them. Really have to see them. But Kiani, tell people where they can find your products.
Yes, so right now, since the pandemic, we haven't been doing a lot of events. We haven't been setting up our booth a lot here on Maui, but we have an online store at opihimaui.com, and you can purchase all of our most popular signs there, including Aloha Spoken Here, All You Need Is Aloha, Just Maui, our Maui Girl Pineapple, as well as our seasonal stuff like Mele Kulikimaka, Ha'oli Makahiki Ho, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We also have signs for pets, pet lovers, grandparents, babies. So it's something for everybody, and you can customize your colors as well and the size of their signs. And you're able to contact us personally from there or through our email at opihimaui@gmail.com, and we can customize any signs for you.
That is awesome. I didn't realize that you did customize signs, but I do know that every time I see you, and I'm glad you mentioned the pet products, adorable, just adorable. I don't even want to try and describe them, because what I want you to do is go to the website, opihimaui.com, because, I won't be able to do it justice, but when you see them, again, this is a booth during the Maida Maui County Festival that people flock to. And so I can see why you would be doing custom signs. And then I just love that every year you're so creative and come up with something new. And I love that you shared some of the key signs that people just really cherish. So, Kiani, we have loved having you on today. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing about Opihi Maui. We are hoping to bring back the Maida Maui County Festival live. We are very hopeful that we can not only go live, but also do a hybrid, because last year we had to move online, which did broaden our reach. So we are hoping to do both. But have always cherished having you in the festival, and just think you're doing such great things. Thank you for sharing that aloha spirit and our culture with everyone. You have a blessed mahalo. You have a blessed and beautiful day. If you're just tuning in, that was Kiani. She is the owner of Opihi Maui LLC, a business up in Kula. We are always so glad on the show to feature different businesses, particularly locally made products of people who are manufacturing. It's such a tough thing to do here, and yet you get to hear how our manufacturers are being very resourceful, creating products that people love, and it's super exciting. If you're a business in Maui County and you don't yet know about the Maui Chamber of Commerce and the work we do, we've been around for over 110 years. Actually, now it's going on 111 years of providing services to the business community to help businesses grow and succeed. That is what we spend our time doing, because we understand that businesses in our community serve the entire community. They create many jobs, give people meaningful employment. They support nonprofits. They get involved in the community and contribute not only to the tax base, but to public service and volunteering, make great donations. And we deal with so many small businesses. So if you haven't reached out to learn more about us, please join us, mauichamber.com. This is Business Matters. I am so glad to have you listen in this morning. We are sponsored by Mokulele Airlines and Sherry Reeve Gallery and Gifts. I'm Pamela Timpot, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, wishing you blessings and best wishes always for a beautiful Maui day. Aloha.